So, when we talk about the Stanford student body, the students that you'll be working with, we're talking about one of the most diverse student bodies you'll ever encounter. Uh, 14% of Stanford undergraduates are first generation college students. 11% are international students, and as much as 47% of Stanford undergraduates are on need based financial aid. That includes loans, grants, and scholarships. We can't assume anything about what Stanford students know or don't know about financial concepts. So, as you think about engaging with these students, I think an approach of cultural humility is vitally important. What I mean by cultural humility is taking a non judgmental stance to students and their knowledge or lack of knowledge. Try not to make any assumptions about the students that you're working with. Actually engage them with the kinds of questions that will give you the information that you need to work effectively with them. And one key to that is to normalize for them their worries about their finances, normalize for them a lack of knowledge that they may demonstrate. And if it's possible, if it's the case that there was a time when you didn't know much about finances, feel free to share that and share how you felt about that, the emotions that you felt, and share the knowledge that you were able to learn more and to be more effective in terms of managing your finances. Some of these conversations are going to be difficult and emotional. Finances, money can be difficult things to talk about. There is an approach that you can take to these conversations that I think will be useful, and the approach is called LARA. LARA stands for listen, affirm, respond, and then add or ask. So, to give you a sense of how LARA works, let's start with this example. You're working with a student, she's a chemistry major, and she's a first gen low income student. And at this point, she is working 3 jobs in order to pay back a small loan that she took out a year and a half ago. And as she talks with you, she explains that she wants to continue working those 3 jobs because she doesn't want to graduate with any debt. Now, one consequence of this is that as a chemistry major, she's not able to engage in chemistry research because she doesn't have the time, because of those jobs she's working. And she wants to go to graduate school. And if she wants to go to graduate school, getting involved in undergraduate chemistry research is vitally important. So, how can LARA be helpful to you as you work with this student? Well, that first letter, L, stands for listening to this student. Asking questions like, can you tell me more about that? Can you tell me more about what you're thinking will be accomplished by graduating with no debt? You want to learn as much from her as possible. What you may learn as you continue that conversation is that this is a student that feels that no amount of debt is a good amount of debt, that the only manageable level of debt is no debt whatsoever. And one way you could affirm that idea is by saying to the student, what I hear you saying is that it's really important to be able to manage debt, and that you're convinced that no level of debt is a manageable level of debt. Is that right? So it's really important to check in with the student to see if your understanding really captures what the student is thinking. And so asking affirming questions is really important for that. That next letter, R, stands for responding. And one way that you could respond to that student is by saying, I agree with you. It's really important to manage debt. But One other thing I'm thinking is that a certain amount of debt that's manageable could open up opportunities for you that might not be available otherwise. And would it be okay for us to talk about that? To talk about maybe getting a way of figuring out what a manageable level of debt can be that will also open up those opportunities that are really important to you, like engaging in the kinds of chemistry research opportunities that would make graduate school a real possibility. And so that last A stands for adding information or asking questions. In this case, asking that question. Can we talk about another way of thinking about debt? A way of thinking about debt that takes into account the opportunities that debt affords. And then checking in with the student to see how she feels about that. So what the Lara approach allows you to do is to affirm to the student that you hear them and you hear what they're concerned about. But you're also offering suggestions that you want them to be open to. And so I think that Lara approach may be very helpful for you. And what it hinges on is you're paying attention to the emotions that students are experiencing and the principles or values that may be behind the things that they say and the things that they do. So there's a lot more to learn about this Lara approach, and there's a deeper dive into this material that you'll find in the financial coaching handbook that you'll be receiving.